Now you listen to me real good. I've told you once, I said it 1,000 times. You get out of those pagan, satanic, religious, Christian churches. Christians do not follow the commandments of the Bible. Christians do what they want to do. They make up their own laws, their own rules, and their own regulations. Come out of her, my people, and come out from among them. And it's real simple and easy to ascertain who are these people you need to come out from. Easy. Number one, if they keep Sunday, that's an automatic sign that you need to not have any fellowship with these commandment-breaking, wicked deceivers and seducers and bewitchers of the truth. Simple.
Glory to the King. If you notice, brothers and sisters, we're not on YouTube tonight. We got trolls over there that just don't have nothing else better to do. You know what I mean? What? Why would you give somebody all that time? You know what I mean?
People just envious.
You know what the last guy? You remember I talked about Dr. Johnson last week when I showed that book on the thing. I showed the book. The guy called in. He got all upset because I didn't believe that the Most High's name or the greatest name that he has is nigger. Yeah, he got mad. He got upset. Mm-hmm. Then they turn around. Boy, that is good, isn't it? That's 1664.
Smooth.
Man, that's good. I ain't had one in a long time, man. I forgot how good this stuff is. 1664 right here. Well, they were drinking good beer back then. I can tell you that. If it wasn't nothing else they was doing, they were drinking some good beer back then. Martin Luther, he drank a lot of this stuff, along with John Calvin and John Wesley. Yes. And as a matter of fact, one of their year booty was, along with their pay, was 250 gallons of wine. It's a lot of wine, brother.
A lot of wine.
Brother, I don't even think you put that together between you and I, Elder Doug, Deacon Bell, Elder Rufus. I don't think that all of us together are nowhere near drinking 250 gallons of wine a year.
No.
I mean, we're way behind the power curve, man. Yes. I mean, think about that for a second, brother. Martin Luther and them were putting it down. Huh?
Yes,
Well, Teach, we getting close to the turn of New Year, coming up next week for us. And hey, Most High still cutting folks off.
Oh yeah.
Right up to it. And this time, people are right up to the deadline, getting cut off. You know, bro, Shane, I was thinking today as another one bites the dust, and I don't mean the song either, but another one does succumb to, and you know, I don't. That's like people who I meet who love taking Paul on the chin for his letters. Paul just wrote letters. He didn't write scripture. He wrote letters. You know what I mean? And people get upset talking about his letters is false. That's like, okay, if you write a letter, your letter is false too then, right? You know, you understand what you follow that logic. But that's the first time I ever heard this stuff, man. Now the Bible says that the flood covered the whole earth.
Mm-hmm.
They say this new stuff. It never stops, man. It only covered a portion of it. Local.
Yeah.
The flood is local. You hear that? The flood is local. and you look, you can clearly see on the globe. I don't care if it's a globe or Peter's map. You can put that whole earth together. It's like a puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you take North America, South America, you take Africa and Europe and way over in the east. You put it all together. You can all fuse it all together, one big landmass.
Yeah, piece together real well.
You know, that thing was so devastating. It was more devastating than what man could actually realize.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what's troubling, Brother Shane, is that here we are in allegedly 2019, and they've been at it for a while. And these people, every single thing they come to is either something, a thought that originates in their mind that they believe it's y'all. And the first thing they do is go to bat against the scripture on it.
Mm-hmm.
Or either they read some modern day theory by some vainly puffed up man in the spirit of his mind. And then they assert that claim as if it's valid and true. The latest thing I heard was this last brother is that Straitway is preaching false doctrine and everybody needs to listen to him. Now that's what's commonly reported.
Mm-hmm.
We'll stay on the safe side. That's what's commonly reported. You know what's troubling though? This comes from someone that has very little self-control. I mean very little. Very little.
Yes.
And when his fruit gets out from behind the scene, it's out in the front. Who would want to listen to him? You understand what I mean? And I mean very little self-control.
Yes.
Elder Doug told me today that this cat, he wanted to talk to Charles. That's serious dishonor and disrespect, especially when you've been here, ain't it?
Yes.
Especially when you uproot yourself and move here. And you get mad and upset because he puts forth all this false doctrine. People, y'all want y'all to give y'all wisdom. If I said this once, I said it 1,000 times. All things are lawful, but it's not expedient. You know how many people we got mad at us simply because we won't embrace the lunar Sabbath? Can't fellowship with us. You remember Don Sewing?
Oh yeah.
Remember him? He came here in the early 2000s. Remember?
Yes.
Got delivered.
Got
delivered and got healed. Didn't hear nothing from him. Earlier this week, heard from that, what's that guy, LJ, who calls himself Elion Israel or something like that. I don't know what they call it, right? They pop up in my little feed down there on YouTube. I'm like, man, where in the world? I ain't seen him in a long time. You know what I mean? You remember his wife?
Yes.
You remember what happened to her?
Yes, she got healed.
She got healed of what?
She got healed of lupus.
Lupus, yeah. Did she bring a doctor's verification up there in a folder and show
Oh
it?
yeah, she made it publicly known.
Got it from the doctor too. He did too.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, she was dolled up, man. Got all that makeup on. But you know what he was doing? These people think that somehow you're more spiritual if you read this. I'm going to say this and I'm going to say it very closely, okay? If you read this Khazarian, Germanic, Ashkenazi, broken Hebrew, the Hebrew they call it today. So I lived over in Germany. They do a lot. Yeah.
Loogie talking.
It's very foul, ugly language. It's rough and nasty language. You know what I mean? And they've infused that with what they call modern Hebrew. And they actually think they're speaking Hebrew. Like Moses spoke. You know, there's no way that we could understand it anyway. But somehow they equate that to being more spiritual. That they can study that. And then no glory. And it's the same people here. You know what they done now? I think they believe that David is king. That David is Messiah. Messiah. Now, there's King David, but he ain't the Messiah.
No. No means.
No, he even said it himself.
Yes.
David and Paul got to be upset, man, to see all this stuff is going on. Another thing. Why is it, bro, saying that everybody else out here has what you would call freedom of religion, but as soon as people start following us as we follow Christ,
Yes.
and of course, you know, the big thing is keeping the commandments. We start keeping the commandments, start living set apart, because you know, holiness movements, they had the movements, but if you notice, you know how to see nobody in holiness no more. You remember House of Prayer, right?
Yes.
I looked at a little short video. They ain't even in holiness no more, man. Man,
Leesville?
Leesville, man. I don't see nothing holiness. There ain't much. And I know that Bishop Marbury would turn over in his grave right now if he realized his wife
Burn it down.
done took over, man, and called herself a pastor.
Yeah.
Huh? A woman pastor.
On past the wicked shall do wicked, like you told her.
Yeah.
And the wicked shall not understand.
Not even understand. They doing it too, boy. They doing it up. Ain't many people, you know what I mean? Ain't many people there at all that y'all is drawing for the message. But it's just sad. And then also there's another one out there too, man. They say that you know, these private interpretations. They come up with all these private interpretations. Nobody knows these interpretations but them, if you understand what I mean. And these interpretations they share privately among the brothers, and the brothers shoot them down, and then they start ostracizing the brother. You understand what I mean? Mm-hmm. Now this latest cat then got to the point that not only is he ostracizing, it's been commonly reported that he been laying his hands on his wife. And mind you, got a dope smoking problem.
Cigarettes.
Yeah, cigarette problem. And eat these damn edibles. That's brand new meat. Edibles.
Eating marijuana.
Yeah, eating marijuana.
Yeah.
Eating marijuana. He told me himself that he did. He did. Now all of a sudden, we're preaching false doctrine. We ain't on point. But he's smoking cigarettes, eating marijuana. Mm-hmm. You understand what I mean? Beating his wife. But he got the fruit of the Spirit. And he's teaching the solid truth. You know what I mean? Nobody else knows, but he knows. He got it all down. It's utterly amazing, isn't it?
Yes.
Utterly amazing. I tell you, ooh, boy, the blindness is real. It is real. We still keep trucking along.
Oh, yeah.
We still keep trucking along. I don't mind telling you that Straitway is thanking y'all for the Sabbath, because everybody has been working to prepare for all of you to come. Oh, they take us on the chin too. They says, they say, what kind of pastor is that? They know what they say. He drinks on his broadcast. We're gonna go ahead and get known up here too. Yeah, drink on the broadcast. And said I cuss, and I told him I don't do no cussing. I don't do no cursing at all. They say he curses. No. Everybody who charges me with that, they are the greatest cursers that there is. Because they take Yah's name in vain by saying that they love him, but they don't keep his commandments. That's cursing.
Yeah.
That's cursing. That's what David said. Mm-hmm. And these people curse Yah every day. And these same people behind closed doors they use some curse words. I went over I was thinking about going over the etymology of cuss word. I said I ain't gonna do it no more, man. I ain't trying to I ain't forget these folks, man. Same old generation, man. And then Living Hope Church up there that Kabir used to go to. He gave thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars to. Mm-hmm. They had their lawyer write a letter to Kabir and requested a bunch of stuff. You know what I did, right? First I told him these coward liars. You understand me?
Yes,
Trying to
sir.
put a gag on it. I said, Kabir ain't no big deal. I said, I'll run it past our ministry attorney and see what she says. I couldn't even get through the letter, and she was holding herself in to keep from laughing. It was that hysterical, laughable. Same thing I told her. I said, man, these people, man, these cowards. And then they lie on him. Just lie on him. And here's the latest kicker. You want to hear this? Maya, I believe that's her name. She's an 18-year-old young lady that goes to Straitway, Wisconsin up there. All right. And when she came, her mother bought her there first time. When she came, she was using a wheelchair frequently. 18 years old. Very sickly. And you seen her?
I don't think so. Not yet.
Bring my phone here for a second, bro, so I'll show it to you. And anyway, she's been going to Straitway, Wisconsin. I told Brother Kabir and all them that her father and them, all them are racist. They're racist. She ain't racist though. And she done got, Kabir laid hands on her. They did some deliverance. And guess what? She been traveling for the last few months up there to fellowship every single weekend. Taking a bus to go up there. And she don't use a wheelchair.
Praise God.
For a few months now. I ain't been using a wheelchair.
Oh, praise.
So apparently her uncle does some research. This is what they say, bro. They say, well, he has been known to fellowship with whatever they call stare. I don't know what they call it. I can't get it right. And I told Brother Bear, I said, you see how stupid and nonsensical these people are? They know nothing about the story except what these other people write. But don't we get some credit, man, for distancing ourselves from that guy when we found out what the hell he was doing?
Oh, yes.
We should get some credit.
Oh, yes.
Should get some credit. But that means if we use that type of discernment, that means all you that's got homosexuals and pedophiles and LGBTs and whoremongers and stuff, we need to start judging you as being guilty by association because they're your family members. And we charge you for being immoral, spiritual bankrupt, and morally decadent. And we're going to follow that line of thinking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
know.
I'll follow that line of thinking. Oh, well. And, well, what's amazing in all this is her dad, she's 18 years old now, right? Mm-hmm. First of all, number one, being 18 in this country, if you choose to, now mind you got some choice and decision to make. If you stay there under your father's roof and you choose to be grown, because you can be grown now, he could probably kick you out of the house.
True.
But there ain't nothing he can do about you making your own choices and decisions in this country at 18 years old.
True.
They consider you grown. That's one thing I never did do, man. When my children get hit 18, you did before I did. You didn't interfere in your children's life, man.
No.
You let them make their own choices and decisions. Mm-hmm. Everybody got to. I don't chase them around and fool around them. Nah, they know you don't want to do it. Hey, so be it. You understand what I mean? But they start lying on us, and then basically what it ended up being, turned out that her daddy racist. There she is right there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, her.
She just got baptized too, didn't she?
Yeah, she did.
Yes.
And she got healed. But then you know what her daddy said? Her daddy tried to tell her, you ain't healed. In other words, they're trying to keep her sick. See, all this is real talk. See, we're not trying to do this behind no corner or nothing like that. No, that ain't us here. We're not doing nothing behind no corners. Everybody says all this junk and they spit all this mess behind closed doors. Warriors, come out and play. Let's talk straight up. There ain't no need to put no assertions behind closed doors and scenes and spitting in people. Here we are. Here I am. Let's get across the table from each other. Let's talk like men. Which we ain't gonna find too many of them people like that in this generation.
No,
There's too many effeminate men. You know what I mean? Bunch of mess going. But I do know one thing: the Yah is still doing a house cleaning before the turn of the Hebrew year, and that's coming up the 4th, I believe it is. Before the turn of the year, he's still cleaning the house. I thank the Father for him.
Oh yeah, that's part of Passover.
Yeah, keep on cleaning.
Getting that leaven out of his house.
Yeah, getting that leaven out. Because the way some of these people have spit in the ears, and then not only that, there's brothers calling Brother Gene up in Minnesota, spitting in his ear. Bunch of junk. Yeah. Just a bunch, let me see. Just a bunch of slanderers. Hey, at least one thing, y'all know who the devil is. Tonight, it's been a while. We got Brother Brian's going to be on here with us tonight. But that sure is a lot going on, though, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
No, you don't think it's a lot? I think it's a lot, man.
War continues.
Yeah. No discharge in this war.
No discharge.
We don't have too many people in call here tonight, right now, which is good because, you know, we're not on blog. I mean, we're not on YouTube here tonight. We're going to see if the devils and the dogs chase us down. You know what I mean? Yeah. I try to show people I done heard that doctrine before. Listen, the Most High name ain't nigger. You mean tell me we just now discovering that name in the South right here when they gave it up? It's really Negro, Niger. But then all of a sudden his name is nigger. That's what the white people gave him in the South. Man, these folks out of their mind, man. But they come up with these newfound doctrines, man, here in this modern day time. And don't believe, you know, how did Peter put it? He said, there were false prophets.
False teachers. Yeah.
Among the people, even as there shall be false teachers.
False teachers.
Who privily shall bring in damnable heresies. And here's the key. Even denying the Messiah that brought them, and bring upon themselves swift destruction.
Yes.
Boy, have I all but seen that. That's
quick.
A strong delusion, isn't it?
Yes.
Man, if Paul's letters and Peter's writing didn't call it, how would you see it? But it's here. What was I looking for? Oh. Yeah. I mean, it's utterly amazing. Utterly amazing. We got Brother Brian. I'm going to pull him up here tonight. He's been doing some research there. Brother Brian, one of the first things I'd like you to go over before you get started, give us a brief here. Because a lot of these people don't get it. That all the information you've given us is true. But they are in bondage. A lot of us still are. To this, I'm going to say this, statutory system. And would it not reckon us that we would have to actually seek to get free first, lawfully and legally, of the statutory system before we start going down there and claiming some rights that we have when we've already done signed their government contracts? Brother Brian, you there, my brother?
Yes, sir, I am, Pastor Dowell. Shabbat Shalom.
Hallelujah. Shabbat Shalom, my brother. Did you hear my question?
Yes, sir, I did.
You got an answer for us, man?
I believe so. Well, let's see. First and foremost, man, hallelujah. Love all you saints. Let's do this. Yes, I do have an answer for that, Pastor Dowell. I think it's very simple, really. He said my people would be in bondage, and at some point enough of them would wake up and they would they would realize they're in a land of captivity, worshiping a deity made of wood and stone. Those are the two main world religions, Christianity and Islam. And those curses of Deuteronomy 28:15 through 68 would be on them until the very end. So remember, he hasn't returned yet, so those curses are still in effect. And I think that's probably the answer I would give to why we're seeing so much stiff-neck, stubbornness, dissension, rebellion, wickedness, all that stuff.
Yes, sir. Bro Brian, what do you have for us tonight, my brother? It's been a 2 weeks since we probably heard from you, maybe 3. I know you got something prepared, man. Go ahead and take the floor, my brother.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Pastor Dowell, as always. I'm just honored and blessed to have a little platform here. So once again, thank you, sir. All right, let's do this. I've been a couple weeks off. I wanted to, I will say this, it's been really this has been a joyful experience for me personally, because I've rediscovered kind of part of myself in the thing I love, and being analytical and research. I just really love it, and I've always had a passion for it, and I think this has somewhat kind of taught me to, it's kind of reinvigorated me to research and then be able to put stuff together in a presentation, which I used to do a lot in sales. I got out of the corporate, a lot of the big corporate stuff I was in. But anyway, so enough of that. Let's do this. So this is the 6th recording in a series with Pastor Dowell. The topic and the main line here is contracting with the beast. Now, let me give a quick rundown of the prior topics that we've covered, and then I'll tell you a little bit about what was brought to me over this short little break, and some really deep thoughts, and taking it to the Most High. And I think you're going to enjoy tonight, because it's going to kind of link things together, connect the dots, if you will. So the first recording we did was basically a 30-foot level, contracting with the beast, and introduction to the 14th Amendment. The second was a continuation of that, and we got into the history and the timeline. That went so long, if you remember, there was a lot of data in that, just dates, and we took that to the third show. Pretty much took up 2. But there's some key stuff in there in realizing how we got to this, from where we all think we're in this land of the free, but we all know that that's not true. The next show, let's see, the 4th show was the birth certificate and the introduction of the straw man. And let's see, the next one was the very deep, this is mind-boggling stuff right now, probably the hardest to comprehend, was the Justinian deception and dog Latin. And tonight we're going to, on this Shabbat, we're going to discuss and basically do a short little review. And I know, and I first and foremost just not necessarily apologize, but just make this statement that I know this is a lot of deep information, and it's going to take some time. And I personally challenge anybody that has ears to hear to go back and challenge any of these things that I say. You challenge me personally, because it'll only bring the truth out, right? Prove all things. And at some point here after this, tonight is technically as far as I can see, is pretty much the wrap up of this series. And I'm going to do a review, and I'm going to introduce, basically connect the dots as I mentioned, and then the very next and final will be an introduction to what is the remedy, because I'm sure that's the $1 million question everybody's wondering. Well, what in the world is Brian talking about? What is Brother Brian? I mean, what is this leading to? So there's got to be a remedy right at the end, and I think that'll be where there'll be some tangible things where anybody listening, brothers and sisters, can then try to put some things and implement them in their own lives to basically protect themselves. And through that, you'll grow tremendously. Trust me. Okay, so tonight we're going to get into, this is the blog talk number 6. This is the link and origin of the contract, okay? And what I'm about to reveal to you is what I've revealed in the prior 5 recordings has been just a lot of very wordy information, almost sensory overload, and I do apologize for that. But hey, you got to do what you got to do, and at some point, as long as this stuff is out there, the next step after this is to break it down into small learning videos, which we'll work on next, but one thing at a time. Okay, so let's get into this. The link and origin of the contract. Okay, Mithraism is Christianity through syncretism and contracts. Okay, let's take a deeper look here. The link between contracting with the beast in ancient times through today. Okay, what we're going to do here tonight is we're going to unveil the origin of contracts. As we've talked in all these prior things, is how have we contracted with this beast system, right? Because we have, whether you agree or you disagree, it can be proven beyond any shadow of a doubt. Okay, so the tie to Mithraism in Rome, which is the fourth beast of Daniel, right? Daniel prophesied and spoke of this beast system, four of them actually, and the fourth beast was basically Rome, and it would be present until our master's return, and that's the age that we're in right now.
Yep.
So let's go back in history here. Mithraism was merged with Zoroastrianism. Let's take a look at the history and the timeline, because it's key that we understand. I'm not telling you to go look deep into these pagan religions. Don't misconstrue that. This is a 30-foot view to at least understand the timeline and the history. But in no way do I say go bury yourself in this nonsense. Just at least understand it, because know your enemy, keep them close. Know history, otherwise we're doomed to repeat it.
Mm-hmm.
Rome became more closely allied with Persia. The Greeks were in the middle and threatened both Rome and Persia. Out of fear of the Greeks, Rome and the Persians became closer both in trade and religions. An example of this even today is the Iranian flags and the Italian flags are identical, just upside down. Google it, look it up. Look up both flags. Iran and Italy, they're green, white, and red. They're identical. One's flipped upside down. That's a little clue right there. They became so close you could not tell them apart. They took on the same language and even the same religion after the fall of the third beast that Daniel prophesied about, right? Persia, then Rome. Zoroastrianism was the religion that was formed in Persia, dating back to the mid-5th century BC, predating the Roman beast system as prophesied in Daniel 7. It was the religion of Cyrus the Great, for reference. Mithraism, the worship of an older Persian deity named Mithra, and Yahuwah, forgive me for mentioning this, but your people need to hear it, and they need to understand what's been done to us. Mithraism was practiced in Rome from about the 1st to the 4th century CE. It is nothing more than the merger of Zoroastrianism from Persia, as well as what appears to be some influence of the Greek religion. For an example, statues came out of Greek. The Greek state worshipped the pantheon and all these massive amounts of statues. In Persia, they worshipped fire, a flame of fire. That was Zoroastrianism, which they merged basically into one religion. When one empire died and fizzled out, the next empire basically took on and merged those practices. And this is the term that's key, called syncretism, okay? Look it up, reference it. I'll mention what's in Wikipedia for your reference. Syncretism is the combining of different beliefs while blending practices of various schools of thought. Syncretism involves the merging of assimilation of several originally discrete traditions, especially in theology and mythology of religion, thus asserting an underlying unity and allowing for an inclusive approach to other faiths. Okay, so syncretism in the Webster Dictionary is the combination of different forms of belief or practice, or the fusion of two or more originally different inflectional forms. Okay, let's take a look at Rome. How big was this thing called Rome? It was massive. The Roman Empire. It spanned, you can look it up, Google it. Just Google the geography of Rome. It spanned from the British Isles through Spain down. It encompassed the entire coast of North Africa, Egypt, what is Judea or our Promised Land, Turkey, Iraq, East Asia, most of Europe today, It was so massive. It touched all the shores of the Mediterranean Sea. If you look at a map, right, it was this huge empire. So then along comes Yahusha, right? This our master, this embodiment of the Most High, Yahusha, the Messiah. And within roughly 300 years, Rome is forced to alter its religion of Mithraism in order to remain relevant with the quickly spreading popular belief of Yahusha. This belief of the Messiah was spreading throughout the Roman Empire, Ethiopia, Transcaucasia, and even some parts of Asia. The Romans wanted to keep their belief in their deity Mithra blended by syncretism from the Persian Zoroastrianism prior religion. They had to find a way to keep this deity but yet blend it with the growing threat of Yahusha. So drum roll please, here comes Christianity. Voila. The birth of this thing called Christianity was created in order to keep Rome's deity of Mithra, which in total essence, in every shape and form, is nothing more than Mithraism. Through syncretism, Rome mimicked the story, history, and prophecies of Yahusha and the Nazarene, who were the early followers of Yahusha. Christianity first came about by Constantine the Great, also known as Constantine I. He was a Roman emperor who ruled between 306 and 337 AD. And let me emphasize this, very key. 300 years after the death of our master Yahushua HaMashiach, right? Look at those dates. Constantine ruled from 306 to 337. The Messiah was killed in about 32, right? So roughly 300 years later, they're creating this new religion. Okay, the light bulb. Of course, we're aware of this, but I'm just referencing it. Okay, big clue. Christianity was created far after Yahusha dwelt among man. Therefore, their claim that Christianity began in the days of Yahusha is nothing more than a big lie. You know what it reminds me of? Actually, this is kind of funny, Pastor Dowell. It sounds very similar to the fourth day of creation, where the sun and the moon and stars are created after the earth was created. So therefore, the earth could not be spinning around the sun. Hence the flat earth. Same thing. The history and the timeline don't add up. Okay, so Constantine was actually the first pope. He was the vicar of Christos. Let me explain that a little bit. He was in place of, as equal authority, basically in this worldly realm. So now here is some hidden truth, saints. Helios Christos is actually the term used, but Rome has hidden the word Helios. They removed the word Helios because it would give away exactly what deity Constantine was claiming to be. To the untrained, this phrase, Vicar of Christos, appears to be the equal of that of Messiah in worldly authority under their religious system, but after deeper study shows to be the replacement of their deity Helios or Mithra, none other than Nimrod in disguise. Okay, here's a revelation for you. All religions are Nimrod worship in disguise. They're just disguised through babbled tongues. After Babylon fell, they all worshiped Nimrod. They spread out all over the place, and they still worshiped Nimrod. They just couldn't say his name. See the halo behind all their images? Sun worship on Sunday, the venerable day of the sun, Nimrod, the risen sun. Now remember the story of Nimrod, Semiramis and Tammuz, right? Semiramis basically had the baby, or actually said that Nimrod was reborn as Tammuz, as the rising sun. So then from that point on, they all worshipped the sun every day. That's where you see all these religions, and in all their artifacts, all their reliefs, there is this halo behind their deity. Whether you're looking at Buddha, Nimrod, the Roman pagan church, and all of its variations, right? I mean, how many different sects are there of Christianity? That's a big clue. Okay, so they removed Helios because it would give away exactly what deity Constantine was claiming to be. Let's take another look here. So now hear me out. When Bush took office, not only the first time, actually this was the second time. If you all look back, you can look it up, you can YouTube it. you remember the speech he gave? The president of this country, George Bush, stood up and he said, and he worshiped and he gave praise to the great architect, right, that would come on the winds. Well, just look up who the great architect is. That's Nimrod, folks. That is none other than Nimrod in babbled tongues. Okay? Let's take a deeper look at this word Christianity. Why did Tertullus refer to Paul as the ringleader of the sect of the Nazarene and not the Christians? That's found in Acts 24:5. Christian, a Greek word with formerly pagan usage. The Mandean deity of the sun was titled Christ Helios. The Alexandrian Osiris was titled Christos. The Romans inherited the way of the Persians, worshipped the sun under the title Christos Mithras, where Christos took the Roman interpretation of good, pure, sacred, or holy. Paul, or Saul, was arrested and a hired sophist named Tertullus made accusations against him before Felix. Part of the dialogue describes the sect, which Paul was a member of, right? The word sect means a group. Quote, he is a ringleader of the Nazarene sect and even tried to desecrate the temple, so we seized him. Once again, that's in Acts 24:5. The Greek word expistos meant anointed. The Greek word Christianos is the origin of the word Cretan. Look up the source word for Cretan. Revisionism has been at work because we first called the equivalent of Cretans at Antioch because we were so gullible and trusting. Okay, this is where it gets good. The followers of Yahusha in his day did not call themselves Christianos. They were known as the sect of Nazarene, the branches of the guardians of Yahusha. Okay, make sure you're sitting down for this one, saints. I'm going to read a definition to you here. This is the American Heritage Illustrated Encyclopedia Dictionary, and it tells us the etymology for the word Cretan. Cretan, one afflicted with cretinism, a fool, an idiot. French cretin from Swiss French Creston or Christian. Hence, human being and idiot being nonetheless human. Okay? Cretinism is dwarfism and or retardation per their definition. Cretinism is simply the word that is derived from the word Christian or cretin. I hope this is making sense. Are you beginning to see just why the Roman beast system came up with the word Christianity? Because they were elites. Their religion was that of the elites. They did not want the younger, poor underclass to be allowed up into their higher ranks. No different than Freemasonry, no different than from all these religions that basically hide the truth from their followers. Okay, so having knowledge about the masses and looking at the people as dumb fools and idiots. Pastor Dowell, you can't make this stuff up.
You're right. You can't, my brother, but you're spot on.
Yep. All right, let me take a sip of my vino here. Okay, so you may be asking by now, where am I going with all this Mithra, Roman stuff? Brother Brian, what are you talking about? Mithra, Rome, okay, we get it, all these pagan, religions. Well, you got to look at the context and the body of things to really understand it. Otherwise, you're going to be basically chasing your tail. It's the basis and formation of the entire body of material that I presented prior to tonight. Okay? Are you ready, saints? Get this. The basic belief and tenet or doctrine of Mithraism, which, as I mentioned, was disguised and hidden as Christianity, is contract, agreement, covenant, or oath. Let me repeat that. Contract, agreement, covenant, or oath. That is the basic doctrine of the ancient pagan religion of Mithraism. Rome didn't go away. Daniel prophesied it would be here till the end of days. It just went crypto and renamed all their nations. Okay? Iranian Mithra and Sanskrit Mitra are believed to come from an Indo-Iranian word, Mitra. He was the god of contract and mutual obligation in a cuneiform tablet of the 15th century BCE that contains a treaty between the Hittites and the Mitanni. Mithra is invoked as the god of oath, right? We know who the Hittites are, okay? And their core religion was basically how do they make oaths and covenants with each other. Uh-oh, Houston, we have a problem. Okay. Exodus 23:32. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor with their mighty ones. Let me read Hebrew, the word 1285, Orith, from H1262. Okay. Covenant, in the sense of cutting, a compact, because made by passing between pieces of flesh, a confederacy, covenant or league, right? Covenant or league. Covenant, contract, league, group, or association. All right, let's review this, and I think I'll now just state, hey, I'm not going to go into all the prior shows that I've done have had so much wordy just information. I'm gonna take a step back here and kind of more gently speak, pretty much off the cuff, because as I mentioned, all these other things were outlines of just a lot of wordy information, but I needed to get it out. So let's start from the get-go. My point here tonight was to connect the dots of where the original form of contracting came from. Okay, and then let's just go back and do a short little review of the prior shows. So hopefully you'll get an idea of how the dots connect and how we've actually been tricked into contracting, because that's the gist of this whole point. Is said, "Come out from my people," and we got it on one side, but yet I firmly believe we got one leg over the fence, right? And I don't have the answer for that. I'm not saying everybody go come out with your hair on fire. Okay, there'll be some simple steps on how to learn and maybe better our lives and protect not only ourselves but our children. Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's review the first one, the 14th Amendment. Okay, where have we heard of contracts before? Let's review our first blog talk of this series, Contracting with the Beast. In the first show, I mentioned the Corpus Juris. Okay, that's the private contracts of Rome. Now, if you remember, I laid out when in history and in discussing this thing called the 14th Amendment, which especially all of our brothers and sisters that their ancestors came from slavery thought that set us free, but it actually didn't. It was just a corporate dupe job. Mm-hmm. Okay, so there's two names in this thing called the Corpus Juris. Okay, and this gets into your birth certificate, the straw man. And I'm just going to gently talk about it without basically just rambling too much here. There are two names. I have two names. Pastor Dell, you have two names. Maybe the other kids on the land, and hallelujah that they haven't had birth certificates, etc. But your birth name and your first name, your birth name is your first and middle name. Your full name is your surname and your last name. Okay? And this is what is called the Corpus Juris. It was created, it was perfected actually in 1230 in the AD Hohenstaufen Empire of Rome, which is a pope, right? One of the beasts. And their family reigned from 1100 to roughly 1200. It was actually created by Justinian, one of the early Roman emperors or false prophets, at 530 to 560. But it was perfected in 1230. Now here's the gist here. They put this into place, and this is where the first dot should really connect for you. Because as I mentioned, how do we attach this belief in the sacred contract back to the ancient pagan religions? Well, here's your main clue, brothers and sisters. Okay? So just after the Magna Carta took effect, this Roman emperor, of Hohenstaufen Empire in 1230, perfected a predated concept by Justinian from 530 to 560. They did this to counteract the true common law. Okay, this was done by one reason: to continue the private contracts of Rome inside the Corpus Juris, or law of the water, law of the sea, the Holy See. Okay. That is what we're under today. We are under Admiralty law. We're under the law of the sea. Okay? We live on land. Mm-hmm. But we actually aren't treated that we live on land. We're vessels lost at sea. All right. Let me do a quick little review of the 14th Amendment. And I'm just going to blow through this, the other prior shows, and I'm just going to hit on some of the fine points to maybe bring back a few memories, and the point of this is hopefully within 1 hour, anybody can listen to this and get a much more condensed version of all the massive amount of information we put out. The 14th Amendment, you thought you were free, but you're actually not. It gave you civil rights, right? But your actual rights come from the Most High, the Creator. But yet this government duped us into believing, hey, I'll accept your civil rights because once I accept that, I owe you a duty, right? If you receive a benefit, then you owe a duty in return. The 14th Amendment, there were roughly 3 million black slaves granted citizenship, actually probably 4.5, probably from the numbers, 4.5 million black slaves granted citizenship into the United States, or what at that time was a corporation. It was not the original, the United States of America. Okay, the 14th Amendment was adopted on 7/9/1868. It created 2 second-class status of citizenship, right? It created the capital U.S. citizen versus the American national or the original state citizen. These are 2 distinct types of class, and they're still here today, brothers and sisters. They've just hidden one from you. Time frame ending the slave plantation era, okay, created the new corporate serf status, nothing different than the feudal slavery that was present in Europe and all throughout history, specifically Mitzrayim. Put entire continent of people in a new status, corporations without inalienable rights by Yah, okay? It introduced civil rights or privileges that could then be taxed, fined, revoked, abused, that were not inalienable nor protected by the organic Constitution of 1776, okay? The 14th Amendment is not the end-all. It's just the mechanism to hide the status of one thing, the American national, okay? That's the original state citizen. Prior to the Civil War, there were a bunch of free people in this country, regardless of what happened and all the terrible things. There was a distinct class of status, and the 14th Amendment usurped that and put everybody into a new lower class. Okay, but they didn't teach us this in school. All right. The opening sentence of the 14th Amendment, I highly recommend that you look at that. I'm not going to read it all because it's too wordy. Uh-oh. Pastor Dowell, what is that thing?
Sorry, brother. Go ahead. Don't let me distract you. That's a head knocker. An old-fashioned head knocker.
Okay, that's pretty funny. All right. All right, so I'm gonna lighten up here because, like I said, it is a lot of info. So, and Pastor Dowell, this may not go totally an hour, but I think the main point I wanted to get out tonight was this: research the doctrine of Mithraism, and you're gonna very quickly find that their doctrine was based on covenant and oath. And I've got a little point to get here too, which will actually make sense. But
yeah, keep going, my brother.
That's key.
Keep growing. You're making a lot of sense to me.
Okay. All right. So good deal. All right. So we reviewed the 14th Amendment, right? Okay. So let me move into my next thing. Okay. So the timeline. This is really interesting because, you know, as anybody that loves history and kind of likes to figure things out. Actually, let me take a step back. There's a couple definitions from the original 14th Amendment that I think you need to understand. I may not go into detail on them, but hear my voice and go look at them. Prove me wrong. Look up the first, basically the opening sentence of the 14th Amendment, and look at all those words. Okay, there's specific words in there, and then go look up in Black's Law Dictionary, right? 6th edition was what I recommend. Really any of them, but the first 1 through 6 I think are the best. Look up the definition of person. The Revised Code of Washington, okay, defines a person as follows. Quote, the term person may be construed to include the United States, this state, or any state or territory, or any public or private corporation, as well as an individual. Wow, so a person is not only I thought I was a person, but I must be a private corporation. Okay, person, Black's Law Dictionary, 6th edition, page 791, defines person as follows. Quote, in general usage, a human being, i.e. natural person, though by statute term may include labor organizations, partnerships, associations, corporations, legal representatives, trustees in bankruptcy, or receivers. Okay, so there you go. There's two big definitions right there where you thought you were a person, and when you sign a document, a government document, it has in fine little print that you can't even see, and it says person, and you sign your next name to it, bam, you just agree that you're a fictitious entity. Okay? It's called learning. Straight up truth. I'm not going to go through the rest of them, but I got a ton of definitions. At some point, we're going to put all these up in a video where they'll be visual so you can slow it down and learn at your own pace. All right, next let's get into the timeline. This is mind-boggling because if you like to study history, it'll show you exactly how they pulled the thing off, right? Because you got to wonder, man, how did they do this? No different than the story of the frog slowly boiling in water, right? The water gets hotter and hotter and hotter, and the frog says, man, I'm safe. Nothing's going on here, until all of a sudden the temperature's too hot, bam, they're dead. No different. All right, the timeline. I'm going to hit a few of these that I think are key to research. You do the research. I've already mentioned these in detail, but I'm going to do a quick summary. 1776, the colonies declare independence. Okay, the original organic constitution was basically put into place. The Illuminati also formed on May 1st, 1776 by Adam Weishaupt of Bavaria, a Khazar Jew. Keep those dates in mind. There's a reason why they were on the same date. Okay? 1783, the Treaty of Paris and Treaty of Versailles cements this arrangement, splitting the land and sea jurisdictions between the states and the federal union, and places King George III as trustee of American interests on the high seas and navigable inland waterways. What? I mean, just listen, replay that. A couple of years, less than 10 years prior to, we won our independence, right? And we wrote the Declaration, and we were free. But yet, literally, by 1783, King George was renamed, right, as basically meaning that he kept control of American international commerce. The new Union entity operating in the international jurisdiction of the sea was always controlled by the British, and it has always been the British monarch's responsibility, okay? As international trustee to manage it and guarantee its proper operation, it has instead run amok for 236 years. We were never free, brothers and sisters. It was just a dupe job, okay? It was like a whitewash, pretty much. Okay, 1789, 2 years later, the Constitution for the United States of America splits off the sea jurisdiction and creates the new federal United States. A year later, in 1790, the federal United States formed a commercial company doing business as the United States. So it's no longer the United States of America. Now it's a federal-owned corporation. Bingo. Do your research. 1812 to 1814, the British try to horn in again and are beaten back. The Treaty of Ghent is another thing to look up. This is where the British interests in American shipping and commerce are reaffirmed and lasting peace is promised. Okay, so they sent in a fake army, they attacked us again, and we said, hey, we don't want more war, let's just make peace, but we'll acquiesce and we'll make sure that you have control of our commerce and our shipping. Done. The deal was over. 1845, the British monarch and Pope secretly agreed to undermine the American system of government via the Treaty of Verona. Okay, the British monarch breaches the Treaty of Ghent, which was a prior treaty in 1814, and both the Pope and the King secretly breached their trust as international trustees. Okay, they set out on a covert action and issued letters of marque and reprisal to the members of who? The Bar Association. There's your attorneys, brothers and sisters. This is where this term attorney came from, the bar attorneys. So if you have an attorney and he's a bar licensed attorney, he's a foreign agent working for none other than the British monarchy, a la the Pope. There, you heard it here. All right, let's get through this. 1862, the Corporate Congress, which was a body of men no different than the board of directors of IBM, change the meaning of a single word, okay? Only inexplicitly for use within their corporation. That word person, okay, they changed the word person. From then on, the word person is deemed to mean corporation, okay? So in 1862, we were tricked, our forefathers, or whoever, doesn't matter, right? I could care less who it was. This is just a history. We're tricked from being living organic people into a fictitious term called corporation. Once they had this trick done, bam, they could start using us and creating a fictitious name. In 1868, the corporate Congress writes itself a new corporate constitution. Nobody taught you this in school. They created a new one, a second constitution called the Constitution of the United States of America. And palms off this look-alike, sound-alike private corporate document as if it were the actual Constitution, okay? This was fraud at the highest level. They also introduced the 14th Amendment in July 9th, 1868, okay? This is when words person, naturalized, United States jurisdiction, citizens, and resident are implemented. That right there is your bondage. Okay, 2 more dates, and then I'm done with the timeline. 1912 to 1913. This is when the Federal Reserve was created. I'm not going to read into too much detail there. It's too wordy. But look that up. When did they took over the government? They renamed us as corporations, dead entities. Then they created a banking system that they could basically rob us blind. 1933 to 1940. The banks took full advantage of the national emergency. They created the Congress, did everything the bankers required. They introduced the Shepard-Townsend Act, the Buck Act, the Alien Registration Act, the Social Security Act, and the Emergency Banking Act, which gave them unlimited funds to wage war. That's why we've been at war since our inception, literally. This was just an affirmation of that, obviously way after. This is also, too, when they created the birth certificate and the straw man, okay? The Buck Act, or the 14th Amendment citizen, is defined as a citizen of Washington, D.C., and a resident of the federal zone of New York or Virginia or any of the new 50 federal zones as defined. That's the Buck Act 4 USCS 104-113 for your reference. All right, we're done with the timeline. Moving along. Now into something very interesting. It's called the straw man. And a lot of you brothers and sisters have heard me talk about this, and it sounds kind of corny, like, hey, was there some straw man placed out at the end of the farm watching the corn grow, right, tearing off crows? But technically it's your false avatar, it's your identity. Okay, so let me read you a quote real quick. And I'm not going to go too much into the straw man because I think you already understand what it is, but I will hit a couple fine points. Pastor Dowell, you'll get a kick out of this, but this will tell you exactly the mindset of these Khazar imposters and how they set this system up. This is a quote from Colonel Edward Mandell House, and this is where he's basically laying out the straw man and the creation of the straw man. Okay, this is the first real evidence found that our social, financial, and legal system was deliberately designed to enslave not only us, but all of humanity. Okay? In a private meeting with Woodrow Wilson, the U.S. president from 1913 to 1921, Colonel Edward Mandell House predicted the banksters' plans to enslave the American people. Quote, this will blow your mind. Very soon, every American will be required to register their biological property in a national, that's you and your children, in a national system designed to keep track of the people and that will operate under the ancient system of pledging. What ancient system of pledging are they talking about? By such methodology, we can compel people to submit to our agenda, which will affect our security as a chargeback for our fiat paper currency. Every American will be forced to register or suffer being able to not work and earn a living. Mark of the beast, maybe? They will be our chattels, property, and we will hold the security interest over them forever. By operation of the law, of merchant under the scheme of secured transactions, Americans, by unknowingly or unwittingly delivering the bills of lading, which is your birth certificate, to us will be rendered bankrupt and insolvent, secured by their pledges. Can't make this up.
Wow.
They will be stripped of their rights and given a commercial value designed to make us a profit, and they will be none the wiser. For not one man in a million could ever figure our plans, and if, by accident, one or two should figure it out, we have in our arsenal plausible deniability. After all, this is the only logical way to fund government, by floating liens and debts to the registrants in the form of benefits and privileges. There's your civil rights, brother.
Man, yeah.
This will inevitably reap us huge profits beyond our wildest expectations and leave every American a contributor to this fraud, which we will call, quote, social insurance, Social Security. Without realizing it, every American will unknowingly be our servant, however begrudgingly. The people will become helpless and without any hope for their redemption, and we will employ the high office presidency of our dummy corporation, the USA, to foment this plot against America. Bingo. Colonel Edward House, a Khazar crypto Jew. In the quote. Good grief. All right, so let's focus on this thing called the straw man. Very quick. I'm not gonna go too deep into it. You got to wonder. Okay, you hear this word straw man. What is it? Okay, our straw man was created when we were very young, so young that we had no knowledge about it. Our birth date, but not our born-on date. It was meant to be a secret, as its purpose is to swindle you. It has been used very effectively against you your entire life from the day it was created. Okay, the fact here is a registration took place. The registration is a contract, but in reality, it is null and void because there was no full disclosure by the local authority, nor was there intent to contract on the part of our parents. My parents didn't agree to it. They had no idea about it. We'll go way deep into this, as I've gone undercover into a hospital and discovered a lot of stuff on this topic. Okay, straw man. What is a straw man? It's a fictitious legal entity, a corporation, a legal personality, if you will, your avatar. It is created by law shortly after we are born, actually upon the registration date. The name of our straw man is actually our name in all capital letters. Okay? We all got most of us have had documents, mail, everything comes in this all caps name. Well, I thought that was me. It's actually not you. Definition of straw man, quote, a front, a third party who is put up in name only to take part in a transaction. Nominal party to a transaction. Black's Law Dictionary, 6th edition. How is a straw man created? Okay. The mechanism involves the unnecessary birth certificate, which the parents imagine is about and belongs to their baby. Neither are true. If the baby is named John and the family name is Doe, you would expect the birth certificate to have the name John Doe printed on it. However, the birth certificate has a different name on it, that being a name in all caps, distinctly different than the given name. This difference is the creation of the straw man masquerading as John Doe in lowercase. This is dog Latin. When you see your name in all caps, it ain't you. It's in a foreign language. It's called dog Latin. It's secret Latin. But your real name is an uppercase, lowercase, right? Just like your parents named you. They didn't know. Okay, so why did they create a straw man? For devious reasons. The answer is in order to charge the straw man an imaginary costs and penalties and fool the man John Doe into paying those amounts. The government began benefiting from the straw man when the United States Incorporated went bankrupt in 1933. The governors of all the states met to discuss what they should do. The state governors pledged to fund the bankruptcy. Guess what they did, brothers and sisters? They pledged the assets and commercial energy of the people in the states to the federal government. They promised to back the federal government and secure the federal national debt. That's what they did. They pledged us as slaves. So that when you hear it on the news, well, every person in America owes $156,000. That's the debt. That's what they've thrown on our backs, but we just don't know it. It's actually not real. Okay, so let's go to the birth certificate real quick. Got through the straw man. The straw man, as I pointed out, is key in understanding that concept. Now you can go look at your birth certificate, your driver's license, all the other things, and you'll see this all caps name, and then you'll realize, wait a minute, look at your birth certificate, look at the born date, when you were born, and then look at the registration date. That's when the contract was created. The registration date is the real birthday of your straw man, okay? Not your born on date, it's the registration date. And there is a remedy to this. It's called a new birth certificate. That is, we'll get into that in the remedy. Okay, so you know what? I'm gonna pass on going too detailed into that. I could totally break down the form of the birth certificate, but you're given a certificate in exchange for registering something. Okay, when you register a piece of property, say a car, truck, or a name, you give up your ownership interest in it and pass the ownership interest onto the entity that you register it with. Keep that in mind. When you register your car, your vehicle, your motorcycle, your boat, your baby, you basically unknowingly gave ownership to a third party, a for-profit corporation. There's a remedy there too as well. A birth certificate is, and it is basically the same as a car registration. You get to use the car just as you get to use your own body, but only with the owner's permission. And that's how they tax, fine you, levy you, threaten you, tase you, shoot you, murder you, all those things. The birth certificate is the government's self-created document of title for its new property. That's you and me. Okay, the birth certificate is the title, it's the bond, it's the financial banknote that created this piece of paper that then they can use as collateral and borrow against you. That's how they access this thing called the SESKV trust. It's ancient Roman doctrine. It was created an extension of Mithraism, as I laid out, brothers and sisters. This is not, we're in none the less than watching nothing new under the sun. Nothing new under the sun. But we got fancy cars, internet, iPhones, and fine wine and a bunch of other fancy stuff, but there is nothing new to this system. Nothing new under the sun. I won't go into detail on the bond and the banknote and all the details, the birth certificate being a warehouse receipt. We can do that in a later, basically I'd like to do that in a visual teaching where you can physically see it. It'll make a whole lot more sense. Okay, so moving on, and this is the topic that I think probably blew everybody's mind, is dog Latin. Okay. Oh wait, I did miss let's see, I missed a quote somewhere here. I want to read something to you. Here's another quote where, remember when George Bush took, I mentioned this early on, when George Bush took office, and this will kind of show you something right there of just who our nation actually worships, because it says God on the dollar bill with all pagan symbology, right? The libertas, liberty is standing, welcoming all the new serfs, slaves into the country. It's a pagan deity called Libertas. Just look it up, right? Lady Liberty. This is by Thomas Horn. When Bush took office the second time, he said, quote, when our founders, and listen to this, when our founders declared a new order of the ages, they were acting on an ancient hope that is meant to be fulfilled. What ancient hope were they talking about? Right? They weren't ever restoring. They weren't saying, hey, praise Yahweh, right? Our Messiah, King Yahusha, is returning. They were saying God, right? Dog Latin in all caps. And they were talking about an ancient order that was basically being fulfilled. Unus, look on the dollar bill. Don't call me Unus Secorum, whatever it means, New World Order. There you go. Yep. So dog Latin, this is, like I said, this is probably the harder concept to get, and I'm not going to go into it. We did a whole recording on it, and I think it was just beyond wordy, but at some point, like I said, we can break all these things down in much easier visual teachings, which I would love to do. So the straw man was created when we were very young. Actually, you know what? I think I'm actually done there. Yes, I am done. Actually, Father. Actually, you know what? I'm sorry. Pardon me, back up. Dog Latin. I was reading the wrong one. Okay, so Dog Latin. This is the hidden foreign text known as Dog Latin. Okay, and this is probably the greatest of all the deception. If you can grasp this concept, you'll understand just how Mithraism and this thing called Rome and the pagan Roman Church works. Do this. Go look up on Google, Pinterest, and look up the Pantheon, look up the Roman Colosseum, look up any Catholic church, and right up at the top of it, what do you see? All caps letters with a dash in between each word. Okay, that's basically ancient Latin. All they did was remove the hyphens, and those are basically ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs, right? Mm-hmm. They removed those, and then they hid it in the all caps name. So when you see your driver's license, it's not you, it's a dead entity. It's a dead fictitious language, and they've duped us, and they took out Latin basically in the when was it? The 1940s or somewhere along back again. Don't quote me, it's in here somewhere. They took out, at one point, our school systems taught Latin, right? And most other European countries and other people learned it because there was so much hidden knowledge in there. They took it out so that we couldn't tell exactly what was being done to us. Okay, so Dog Latin is the code to the matrix. Okay, Dog Latin is unhyphenated, all uppercase Latin symbolic text that follows the grammatical rules of English and not the grammatical rules of Latin. It is the language of the illiterate. Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition. It looks like English, right? All quotes. It looks just like this, quote, but grammatically it is the deception right under your nose. Dog Latin, or debased Latin, appears to be the official language of the infants, the military, right? Infantry of Rome. Listen to that word, infantry, infants, meaning they're dumb. They don't know what they're doing. The infantry of Rome. It appears to be the language of the dead, the debtor, and the only way you can hold a military name is in all uppercase appearance of the dead language. Latin and or Dog Latin being the designation of things and not proper names such as your surname. Okay? It's deep. I don't want to go too much into it because, like I said, this could be a long series just on this topic. This all uppercase text is not English or Latin. The quote glossa, okay, look that term up, Glossa, glossa, is the all uppercase Latin text appearing on any document. It is not English. It is an illustrative text or a picture symbol, basically a hieroglyph, right? Who else had hieroglyphs? Kemet, Mitzrayim, right? And not a descriptive text such as English. It has no jurisdiction with other written texts such as English descriptive text unless agreed. Okay, so if it's not English, then what is it? If we're writing in a concrete form called English with uppercase first letters and lowercase, right? English, but yet all of a sudden we see documents and other things with all caps in it. What is it? It's not English, so therefore it's not common law. It's foreign. It's a fraud. The poison in the text of the glossa is now identified as Dog Latin and has no correspondence with proper written English appearing on the same page. The text is Dog Latin, being Latin text based on the grammatical rules of English. Okay, and this is from, let's see, the Black's Law Dictionary. It's called Debased Latin. Just look it up. All caps, Dog-Latin. It's the language of the illiterate or language of the dead. Okay. There's no jurisdiction between the two separate languages, so whenever you see it on a lawful document, it's fraud. It's basically an imposter. All right? And I think with that, I think there's maybe one other point in here. Actually, you know what? I don't think there is. Pastor Dowell, I'll rest my case. I think I've really enjoyed presenting these concepts and this information. I know it's a lot, but I hope in this basically 1 hour conversation we are able to kind of condense it and not as wordy. I know it's still wordy, but the gist of this is hear me out. In ancient in ancient Rome and the beast system, let's focus on Scripture, the beast 4 systems prophesied by Daniel. The 4th beast would be in power until our master returns, and that is none other than Rome. Okay? And through that, they use syncretism to blend all these religions to get control of everybody, right? Like a politician would do. And then they use syncretism and other hidden mechanisms, and then they've hid the history from us so that we wouldn't know actually what totally was happening. But I have no doubt that this is the truth, and therefore Brother Brian rests his case.
Brother Brian, I appreciate it very much so. I mean, because just to have the information in the ears of the people is more than I can actually ask for, because people do need a defibrillator put on their mind. A few people will take heed, listen, and then start making moves and strides to do it, things to truth, because you know how hard it is to get people to come to truth. They usually are comfortable being passive and very comfortable being stagnant. But I appreciate your time, your energy, and your effort, and then things you come. Are you still coming back on, man?
Yes, you tell me when you want me. I'd like to do at least one more just to discuss the remedy, because obviously this was all the history and kind of how do we get here. I think it would be diligent to present another, and let me think about it, but hey, we got 2 weeks, I got plenty of time, and then I would like to present maybe a part of the remedy and then a plan to continue and maybe break this down in a more educational thing via videos. I don't know, I got some ideas being thrown around, but it definitely needs to be put into a visual teaching. But first and foremost, everybody needs to hear, okay, I get it. What do I do? What's the first step to reclaim my true status? And that's first and foremost. So yes, let's do at least one more, and then you tell me. But the remedy should definitely be the final, the kind of the follow-up to all this information.
All right, my brother. Bless you, brother Brian. Appreciate it, my brother.
All right, Shabbat Shalom. Love you, Israel.
Shabbat Shalom. Brother Brian, man, you can't beat that. Hey, I wanted to say, Brother Brian didn't ask me. I didn't want to distract him too much. But I want to go ahead and tell y'all what this is. This is an ancient Indian weapon. It's called a bald head. A bald head. And it's extremely heavy at the end of this thing. And the balance is literally amazing. They used to use this in combat to kill people with. And I mean, the balance is utterly amazing. Bro, Gideon, I gotta let you check this thing out, man. But that's what this is. It's a war weapon. It's a weapon they used to use to knock people upside the head and kill them. All right. Also, man, you can't thank Brother Brian enough, though, can you? We're definitely going to have you back on again, and we'll talk during the week. And we need to probably set up a day, Brother Brian, where we can actually open up the phone lines to the listening audience and maybe take like 10, 12 good questions. Let me go on here for a second. You know, I have literally been raving about our precious Brother Brent here on the community. He has made homemade presses. He has done a job. He is making and selling an extraordinary amount of holsters for the Israelites and those who want it. Listen, I'm going to show you what I personally have been carrying all week long. I've had on me all week long. And let me go ahead and add my 2 cents of worth in here, okay, if I may do that and be pure. I'm a big advocate of appendix carry, but of smaller firearms. I think it's nonsensical to appendix carry with big ones, but to each its own. It depends on your construct and makeup. If it's a bigger caliber, if it's a bigger gun, then you should carry it on your side. But I want to show you my setup right here, what Brother Brent made for me. Right here is my Glock 43 setup right here. This is my personal Glock 43 setup. Each one of the magazines is 8 rounds, so I have a total of 16 rounds in this Glock 43 setup. And so what I'll do is I'll remove my Glock 43, and I'm going to be very careful about how I handle it because I know it is loaded. I'm going to remove my magazine that has an extender, a tube from the Glock store. And I want to explain this to you. This is like the bigger one I had, and I paid an extraordinary amount of money for. This one is also an appendix carry, and it also is very flexible. It has a high sweat shield in the back. It has adjustable, depending on the contour of your waist, but it has adjustable, see that? Belt loops that you put it in. Brother Brent decided to accent all the screw holes with the color that I have on the back, which is a blood red. This is the sweat guard. The sweat guard right here, I might add, and it's carbon fiber up front. Also have this right here prevents it from sliding around and sticking on you, but this is also a guard that rotates. Then if you watch very closely right here on the belt loop, you see there's some loops right here. See it has limitations, and it goes from side to side, side to side. Has a string that you can also tighten it up on the back. This whole thing is adjustable. You can either loosen or tighten it to whatever tension you want. There is not another Kydex out there that anyone out there on the internet is selling. Brother Steve, I'm gonna let you know beforehand, I need to actually work on, when I come up there to Canada, setting up a website for Brother Brent to make these holsters right here for people. He's doing a very good job. It's a passion of his too. So this is me putting my Glock 43 back in there, as well as an extra mag. You know, you always carry an extra mag. I have 16 rounds just right here in this little small thing. This is perfect for appendix carry right here. Just perfect. It's a beautiful, beautiful setup. Nice high sweat guard. I do recommend a high sweat guard for the smaller calibers and a medium sweat guard for the larger calibers. He also made a blackened, I don't know what caliber this is right here. This is also, excuse me, an inside a waistband adjustable. And it's a black camo. Very well made, and it's adjustable. The tension on it is. And here is a larger form of what mine looks like right here. Looks like a high sweat guard on it as well. This one actually looks like it comes with a light setup. It has a light setup, and it is adjustable as well. So everything that I said before, this applies to. It's a very nice setup, a very good holster. The brothers who have all had Brother Brent remake their holsters, because, you know, like anybody else, they ordered holsters online and they was totally displeased with them. And Brother Brent started making these things, and Brother Brent is just literally taking the ministry by storm. When you come here, now mind you, I'm gonna tell you right now, more, you know, we'll give you the different shipping prices, but it's still with the price of the holster, the difference in the quality it has been made in, it may take you upwards of anywhere between 2 to 4 weeks before you receive your product. And reason being, I guarantee you that he's going to have an extraordinary amount of orders. Now, if you like me, or like Brother Daniel, you got 3 or 4 different holster configurations. I just thought I'd put that out there. I'll talk more about it as the days go on. Glory to the King. All right. I'll take a break here just for a second. Let Sister Wenda talk with you, and we'll be right back with you in a moment.
Shalom, this is Sister Wenda. I hope that all of you are enjoying the broadcast that you're listening to right now. We appreciate each and every last one of you, our faithful listeners and supporters of the Straitway Truth radio broadcast. We try to make sure that we do our due diligence and do our best to ensure that you have the best broadcast as well as the truth coming to you in the hour that we're living in right now. If you would like to help us in this endeavor, your offering will be greatly appreciated in the work of the ministry of the Most High Yah. Our mailing address for your gift, offering, or letter of support is Charles Dowell Jr. That's Charles Dowell Jr. And Dowell is spelled D-O-W-E-L-L. 506 Ellington Drive. Ellington is spelled E-L-L-I-N-G-T-O-N. P.O. Box 32, Lafayette, Tennessee. And Lafayette is spelled L-A-F-A-Y-E-T-T-E 37083. Again, our mailing address is Charles Dowell Jr., 506 Ellington Drive, P.O. Box 32, Lafayette, Tennessee, 37083. If you would like to contact us by way of phone, the country code is 1, area code 615-688-3025. That's 1-615-688-3025. You may leave a message there, and, be the Father's will, we will do whatever we can to try to return your message. It is our hope and our prayer that as you continue to listen to the Straitway Truth Ministry, and as you apply the teachings of this ministry, that you are finding peace and growth within you, your family, and life as well. Please tell others so that the truth may also have an impact and touch others' lives, so that they may enjoy the benefits of the truth of Jesus Christ, just like we all are. Shalom, the King is coming.
All right, shalom, shalom. The King is coming. Cannot say enough about Brother Brian and the wisdom that he's bringing towards us. We see Brother Brian, or we hear him again here 2 weeks. That's a week before. The Feast of the Most High Yah. We'll see him there. Brother Kabir has the Berean moment. Matter of fact, he called it the season finale. I ain't going to spoil it for him. He also has the KGB show every second day, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. The elders, teachers have their broadcast every first day, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Then we have the Sisters to Sisters broadcast every fifth day, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Then we have yours truly, the broadcast every sixth day. Sometimes it's the Sabbath, depending on the time of the year and how the Gentiles, the Goyim, switch up to daylight saving time, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, Pastor Dowell. We also have Brother Eric, that a teacher. He is a good teacher. He releases a teaching once a week. Sometimes it runs every other week, depending on what he has going on, every 6th day. And we also have Brother Ugly, who actually reports on the news of the ministry. That's a lot of time, energy, and effort just to get all that going. It really, truly is. There's a lot going on. The sisters are very active on Marco Polo. The brothers are very active on their Marco Polo. Brother Scott has been doing an excellent job keeping people abreast of the tabernacle and working on it. Elias, Ariel, and Gabriel are working extremely well on this tabernacle. They are learning a lot, doing a lot. And I can only hope that the brethren do like I do when I'm working with them, instead of just doing it and letting them hand stuff to you, that you actually are teaching them as you go and letting them physically get their hands on. Because it's one thing to watch it, but it's another thing that you teach them and spend time with them and show them what everything is and how you go about doing it so they can carry it on with them in life. That's what I do. whenever I'm teaching someone. I invest in the younger generation. Drink of the night, 1664 Blanca. It's a French drink. It's a French drink. It's a very good tasting drink as well. And it looks like this. And it tastes as good as it looks. I know I upset a lot of people. I'm only going to take about 3, maybe 4 phone calls tonight, and that's it. We are extremely tired here. We're getting ready for the feast day. I'm going to see you and you during the feast, and I'm going to spend time speaking with you, just like I normally do during the feast. Y'all keep on praying for us. Brother Allen is working on the song. I need to stop messing with them while they're working on this song so they get a little bit more serious, because, you know, I'll be throwing stuff in and stuff, but I'm checking their retention, their esprit de corps. I'm checking their intestinal fortitude and their heart to see if they know how to stay the course, see if they're really serious. Even though I play around up there a lot during music practice, we have a wonderful time. Wonderful time. We really, truly do. Sister Nicole is making me a garment, and she marking on and stuff. Man, look like she knows what she's doing too. And we have Sister Alex, Sister Alexandria. She is here from the D.C. area, visiting once again. It's always a joy seeing Sister Alex, and she bought me, man, one of my favorite drinks. I'm telling you. What did Sister Alex bring me? I'm gonna show you what Sister Alex bought. She bought me, you might know, BAM! Boom! Johnny Blue Label. Oh, I tell you, you know somebody love you when they bring up and they roll up with one of them. Oh, Sister Carol. Sister Carol, did Zakina make it in? Don't know. We got Zakina up here on the board. That she should be here. Other than that, we're doing well. All is well in the land of the living. We're Straightway's tired. All there is to it. They just flat out tired. I'm going to have to get them a couple of days off before this feast. I'm just going to have to do it. They're working extremely well on the tabernacle. And between Brother Bud and Brother Scott and all the rest of the brothers, they're having Pastor run around like a chicken with his head cut off, getting building materials. So that, when I go out and get the building material, it doesn't slow down the production. I had just got finished with all of the mail of the ministry earlier this week. Some of you probably have already received your letters in the mail. I usually try my best. If you write me physically, I usually try my best to write you back. And if you have an email address that you've included, I'll usually answer by email. And then those of you who had a text message, I do. I want to show y'all. I have this phone and I have this phone. And weeks, sometimes days and weeks go by before many of you all know this one, but only less than a handful of you have this one, and I've got it that way on purpose. This is the one I keep on me the most. And it's because the ministry is getting so big and everybody wants access straight to Pastor Dowell, and I simply just can't get back to everybody. I can't do it. I just simply can't do it. It's just too many of you. That's the reason why we have elders and community heads in every single place, so that you can actually speak to them, and they'll be the ones to determine if I actually need to give my attention to a lot of this stuff. Because believe it or not, your pastor is a whole lot different than pastors out there. I am a literal working pastor. You know, I'll give an example. This week alone, I was up at 3 a.m., really about sometime 2:30, sometime 2:51. On average, I was in the office by 3 a.m. at least 3 times this week, doing the work of the ministry. I will have my devotion time with the Most High, read the scriptures. So I love doing that, and getting things done. Literally getting things done. Patron, cannot say too much about that. All of you brand new patrons out there, I salute you. I salute you. Every single one of you. I love being able to give out good wisdom, good knowledge, good understanding And like Doc said today, I put out a video today. That was an accident, Doc. I put it on YouTube. And Doc said to me, Pastor Dowell, you know that this is a Patron 100 video. And I couldn't do nothing but concede and say he's right. I shouldn't be casting all them pearls for swine over there and giving out that which is holy unto dogs. I shouldn't do it, but nevertheless, there it is. Guest calling numbered for, whoa, we already got 3 or 4 in there. Glory to the King. Well, I ain't got to give it then, but it's behind me. I'm going to go ahead and take these phone calls right here, and then we're going to call it tonight, and I'll see y'all in the morning next week. Next week, on the 4th, is the turn of our new year. Glory to the King. It is the literal turn of our new year. Let me see. I'm going to make sure. Yeah, we'll check it out. All right. But anyway, let's go to Wisconsin. Our brother Isaiah 262. This is Pastor Dowell UNSensored Pearls radio broadcast. I can help you.
Hey, Shabbat Shalom, Pastor. I just wanted to say that I did some research on what you said last week, and once again, you were flat out absolutely right. It's good to know that information and to see the roots of the problem. So I thank you so much for that, and I thank you so much for the truth that you put out every week and pretty much every day. It's good to have righteous role models to look out, to look up to, especially when you don't really know what you're doing. So I just wanted to say that, and Shabbat Shalom, and I appreciate everything you do.
Thank you, brother Isaiah. Shabbat Shalom. I ask people to check me out because I'm not fearful of you checking me out. I expect it. I'm not like these people out here saying, go check me out, and then they never expect it. I expect for you to, because all of our lives, every single one of us, we've been taken advantage by people who we're supposed to allegedly trust in. You're supposed to trust in these people, and you don't know nothing about them. After a while of you checking me out, I don't know if it's 2 months, 6 months, a year, you're going to figure out that I'm not here to do like everybody else in your life, starting with your wicked family who has lied to you from the day you fell out of your mother's womb, because they didn't do the research. They didn't care enough to do the research. They didn't care enough to study. They didn't care enough to fast and pray. They didn't care enough to obey the words of Jesus and heal the sick, raise the dead, and cast out devils. They don't care about that. They don't care nothing about living set apart and doing what the book says. But hey, that's neither here nor say. I do. Pennsylvania, call number 717-717. It's Pastor Dowell UNSensored Pearls radio broadcast. I can help you.
Yes, shalom, Pastor Dowell. Brother Zach calling. How you doing?
Zach, how you, man?
Oh, I'm doing well, Pastor. I just wanted to sincerely say I wanted to thank you and all of the brothers and the sisters, of course, who helped us out and took care of us while we were down there, and really appreciate that. It was very good to see all of you, and I sincerely mean that. And it was it's going to be great to see y'all again here in a couple weeks.
Hallelujah. Hey, bro, Zach, most people don't know you. You've been around for a while. Most people don't know, and most people don't know that you and I share the same last name. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. That's true.
And that's bro Zach. How old are you, bro Zach?
I'm 33 years old.
Bro Zach is 33 years old, and his last name is Dowell. Bro Zach, are you a Caucasian or are you a Negro?
I am a man of light skin, so I'd be considered a Caucasian.
All right. So, Brother Zach, would you tell everybody out there what our last name means?
Yes, sir. The last name Dowell means black or dark stranger.
Simply amazing, isn't it?
Yes, sir, it is.
And you can go look that up on Google and internet for people who actually want to check it out. Hallelujah. Brother Zach, man, we enjoyed y'all. We really enjoyed y'all, man. We had a good time with y'all.
Yes, sir. Yes, it was. We had a great time, and we had a wonderful trip. Me and the other brothers were just talking about how much fun we had, and looking forward to see y'all again. Did have a question for you, Pastor.
Sure.
I was on the Straitway Truth. Yes, sir. I was on the Straitway Truth website and checked out. There was one of the readings of the research pamphlets under resources. It was about the fractured soul. Do you know if you have any? Forgive my memory, but do you have any teachings on that, Pastor, that you've done in the past about the fractured soul?
Oh, the fragmented soul.
Yes.
Yeah, brother. I'll tell you what, brother Zach. I've preached on a lot of things over the years, and there's an extensive archive. I don't know if it's with Brother Shane, Sister Vicky, or whatever, but man, I'm sure it is somewhere. It's somewhere, and I'm sure they're listening right now, because if somebody usually make a request, they're usually probably looking at it. And I'm sure I probably got somebody's trying to organize all this, because I've got teachings, brother, that go all the way back to in the 90s. And we was heavily teaching fragmented souls. You know what I mean? So the soul is fragmented. We was teaching that early on in the early 2000s and stuff. You know, I actually need to go back and start revisiting a lot of this stuff for the brand new people who have come in since then, because it would do good for me to start going over each one of these spirits again and giving everybody a good rundown of what these spirits do. Now, usually during the dead season, I usually go over spiritual warfare and deliverance, teaching about, you know, the spirits and the war that we're up against. I didn't do it this dead season. The fathers control all things, but I am sure that we're going to get to it. So they'll let you know. They'll let me know, and they'll let you know. We'll put it out if they run across it, my brother, okay?
Okay, yes, sir. Hallelujah.
Bless you, my brother.
Yes, sir. Bless you, Pastor. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Now, isn't that amazing? Here I am, a black man, Negro, and my last name means black stranger. Then there's Brother Zach, after the flesh. He's a white Caucasian. Now, what would you think about that? A white Caucasian having a name that has a meaning to it that means black stranger. What does your last name mean? What does your name mean? What does your surname mean? Because my first name, Charles, actually means manly man. In other words, my names, no matter what culture they come from, they reflect my Israelite culture. They have meaning. So Charles, Carlos, that means a manly man, black stranger. That's something unique, isn't it? Simply amazing. I'll give you an example. Sister Carol, isn't that something? Carol, C-A-R-O-L, Carol. And Carol has to do with song. Isn't that Song of Joy, Carol? Yes, sir. Song of Joy. And she is a singer. Simply amazing. So in other words, what I'm saying is, when you have been named, did your parents just name you because it was something that sounded good, or did it have meaning to it? Because usually your name is a reflection of your personality. I'm going to say it again. A good name is rather given. Most people say, well, the Most High gave me this name. Well, I know one thing. He's got a new name written down for you in glory. I don't think you know what that is on this earth, but we'll just leave it at that. Let's go to Texas, Brother John. Call number 832-832. This is Pastor Dowell. You're on the Strictly Truth radio broadcast. I can help you.
Shabbat shalom, Pastor. Brother McNabb here in Houston.
How you doing, my brother? Shabbat shalom.
I'm blessed by the Most High, Pastor. Just wanted to give a testimony, if that's okay with you.
Well, you can do that, but if you're on a headset or a speaker or something, try to get off of that and get your mouth close to the mic so we can hear you better.
Yes, sir. How do I sound now?
You still sound far away.
Okay. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm hoping that you can hear me.
You sound better now.
All right. But, yeah, like I said, I want to give a testimony, Pastor, if that's all right with you.
Go ahead.
Yes, sir. So, Pastor, I've actually suffered from gastritis the last 12 or 13 years of my life. For those who don't know what that is, that's an inflamed stomach that causes me to get nauseous and vomit. At one point in time in my life, it was so severe, Pastor, that I would literally get nauseous and vomit every single day for about a year and a half or 2 years. I went to all kind of doctors. I tried all type of medicine. Nothing helped. The only thing that they could tell me is that I was extremely lactose intolerant and that I was also allergic to dairy. Dairy would cause me to break out in hives and also give me diarrhea. So I started taking matters into my own hands, Pastor. In 2008, I gave up cow's milk and I went plant-based. But I still noticed that certain things would make me nauseous and make me vomit. Fatty foods, greasy foods, certain red meats. Excuse me. I was still a heathen at the time, so I did eliminate pork. I realized bacon. At that time, I enjoyed it, but I did realize that bacon and pork was one of the triggers. And then over the time, I just started eliminating meat until about 2 years ago, I became an alkaline vegan. I gave up all meats, all byproducts of animals. So during the last 2 years, Pastor, I felt a lot better than I have those previous 10. But I still notice that every now and then when I eat something unhealthy, maybe too much of fries or too much of something unhealthy, that I would still get nauseous and vomit. So as you know, Pastor, Elder Mitchell was down there with us for a few weeks. So I went to Elder and I asked for healing. So last Shabbat, Elder laid hands on me, and I felt so good, Pastor, that I came home and I decided to try chicken for the first time in 2 years. So I ate the chicken, nothing happened. I felt amazing. I didn't get nauseous, I didn't vomit. So the next day, a couple of brothers, we were fellowshipping here, and they ordered pizza. So now I'm looking at trying cheese and chicken for the first time in 2 years. So I ate tried a slice of pizza. Pastor, when I tell you I didn't get nauseous, I didn't vomit, I didn't break out in hives, I didn't have diarrhea, I just felt good. So I just wanted to give all the glory and honor to our Messiah, Jesus the Christ, Yeshua HaMashiach, for healing me, Pastor, to the point where I've eaten chicken twice now since that pizza. Actually, I just had it about an hour ago. And I know this may not mean much to other people, but it was to a point, like I said, Pastor, I was so used to throwing up. I would vomit every single day. And I just got used to it. So I just want to give all the glory to the Most High Yah and thank our Messiah, Jesus the Christ, Yeshua HaMashiach, for healing.
Brother, I rejoice with you greatly. Because most people really truly don't understand, and neither can they comprehend unless they themselves was in a situation like that. And it becomes real to them then. So we thank y'all for your healing. Glory to the King. You got anything else, my brother?
Yes, sir. I just wanted to acknowledge Brother Greg and Elder Mitchell. Pastor Dow, I am so grateful for having strong men like that in my life, to be able to submit to men like those that are submitting to you as we all follow the Messiah. I know you hear this quite often, Pastor, but I have literally grown more in the last 6 months of my life than I have in the first 26 years of my life. So I'm grateful to have men like Brother Greg and Elder Mitchell. I just wanted to say, bless them, bless you, Pastor. Shabbat Shalom.
Hallelujah, Shabbat Shalom. You know, it's so true, man. I've got people who have been with me for a little while who have studied me and watched me closely, and they're very connected with the Most High. Elder Mitch, there's a reason why he's an elder. Let me go ahead and quote the scripture to you. Over in James, chapter 5, verse 13, I want y'all to listen to me. It says, "Is any among you afflicted? Let him pray. Is any merry? Let him sing psalms. Is any sick among you? Let him call for the elders of the church, and let them pray over him, anointing him with oil in the name of the Lord. And the prayer of faith shall save the sick, and the Lord shall raise him up. And if he have committed sins, they shall be forgiven him. Isn't that amazing that the Most High Yah, through his word, has actually given elders power to lay hands on people, and he heals them. And because the elders made a petition on their behalf, the Most High Yah would heal them because of the prayer, what they prayed. Sounds like it's in perfect harmony and unity with the Bible. I remember Job, and he had his friends, and they began to talk about Job. And Job said that they were miserable comforters. I got to watch it because the Baptist was getting ready to come out in me. But anyway, I'm just showing you something. But Job prayed for his friends. As a matter of fact, the Most High Yah told his friends, don't you even come to me. Now, if Job prayed for you, then I'll restore you, I'll heal you. Amazing, isn't it? And of course, there are preachers out here today that say there is no organic healing. I don't know what the hell that means, but anyway, not for them it ain't, but for us true Israelites, there is. And there's another testimony. So what do you do when your big fat preacher gets up and lies to you? Do you just go ahead and accept this person and admonition again? Or do you accept the word of Yah? I personally tell you to accept the word of Yah. That's what I would say. Bless you, brother, now. Thank you, Father. Elder, keep staying anointed and prayed up. Amazing, isn't it? Thereby showing you that he's a true elder. And all the elders in this ministry. Same power. Amazing, isn't it? What are your Christian churches and what are you doing? Are you still in your wicked, sick condition? Some of you so prideful. You'll keep your condition all the way to the death, and you'll be sitting there praying, Lord, heal me. Help me, God. Please heal me. And he's already giving you a blueprint sitting right there in front of you. You're too prideful, won't even use it. Anyway, Brother Lamar, New York, call number 716-716. This is Pastor Dowell. You're on the Straight Truth radio broadcast. I can help you, Brother Lamar.
Yes, sir. Shabbat Shalom. I know it's been a while since I called in. Can you hear me good?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sorry about that. But yeah, I was just calling to just give a brief report on the incident that happened with my parents. They were basically trying to go back and forth with me with the book and stuff like that. Then, you know how when people, they keep pestering you, and you know, I'm a young guy. You know, I'm you know, when you continually keep poking the daggone tiger, he's gonna lash out. So I did have a few words with him, and I had to repent, like real bad. Like it was bad. Like I'm not gonna lie, it was bad. So I had to go to them and repent. I had to go to the Father and repent. And you know, I'm just letting you know that I'm still keeping on, even though I'm rubbing elbows with all these people and stuff. I'm still, you know, keeping on. And I'm thinking about the food. I cannot wait until I get some food down there, because I've been watching your videos, and I be hearing you talking about that food. Them greens be looking good, so I can't wait.
Brother Lamar.
I was just, yes, sir.
Who is this? What, family preachers or teachers like that that's badgering you about what you believe?
Yes, sir. It's basically, you know that the woman pastor, my ex's mother, it's her. Because her and my father are actually getting married.
Wait a minute, a woman pastor. Is that what you said?
You went off on me. Yes, sir.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that one, the one that was getting in our business and stuff. So it's basically her, and then it's my mother that's saying I'm going too deep in the Bible, saying that he's a misogynist and all this other stuff.
Wait. You going too deep in the Bible?
Yep, that's what she said. It's not that deep. You know, it's not that, you know. So basically, because I'm going outside of the tradition, because she's a Baptist, so I'm going too deep, basically. So I don't know, Pastor.
Hey, did you feel the spirit a while ago when I was getting ready to go into my Baptist spirit?
You have me cracking up with that.
Man, these folks.
Yeah, man, I was just, it's ridiculous. And my father, because like I said, he's with that woman pastor, and you know, like you said about about Leah. And he follows everything that she does. Like, he doesn't work. She takes care of him. And, you know, I'm in this financial situation too, but the thing is, I'm not, like, comfortable. I'm not, this is it. Like, that's where he's at. He latched on to her. I don't got to do nothing. But then he's going to tell me that I'm wrong, and pastors are, you know, saying all this other stuff. I ain't going into details because I don't want to get your blood pressure going, like you said.
You ain't going to get my blood pressure going.
You know. But, you know, just the typical BS that we go through as the men and women are, yeah. So I'm just letting you know I'm keep fighting a good fight, and I'm going to get down there. I'm going through some financial issues right now, but yeah, I will, and I'm going to be down there. And if I need help early or something like that, I'm going to try to see if I can get down there earlier, because I know you guys are tired setting up everything, and I just want to be a help. Like, you guys are accommodating, and there's anything I could do, because you guys are not asking for nothing back, and it's just really from my heart. And, you know, I want to really be a help, be a blessing to the kingdom.
Brother Lamar, how many people in that church up there where this allegedly this abomination calling a woman pastor is so-called pastoring?
It's not, the funny thing is, they don't even have a lot of members. That's the funny thing. And number two, it's actually more than one woman pastor. And number three, I was also dealing with this one woman. She claims that she was a bishop, right? She was
Hold on.
It gets worse.
Hold on. Don't get no worse tonight, please. We all got to get some rest, man. But did you say a woman bishop?
Yes, sir. And not only that, she hooked up to all these different oxygen machines. Can't even get healing for her situation. In and out of the hospital, cancer, all this other stuff. But she calling herself a bishop, and then called me out in front of the whole church and told me I hated women.
Oh! I know Jezebel's I understand, son. You're excited, and Jezebel's are ruling up there, and all that old other stuff. I get it. Believe you me, I get it. But how many people are in this church?
Like less than, it can't be no more than like 20 people. Like, it's literally all their family members.
I'm trying to get a gauge, because it ain't even worth me going up there. I need a good audience, man. I need a good audience so I can shame it. Let me just read something for a second. Let's test this stuff for a second. 1 Timothy 3:1. This is a true saying. If a man desire the office of a bishop, he desire a good work. A bishop then must be blameless, the husband of one wife. Let me see. So a bishop, he's supposed to, if he desire to work, he's got to be a man, and he must be a husband. Anyway, I get it. Spirit of confusion all over that place, and Jezebel's ruling up there. Man, don't even go back in that church no more.
Oh, no, yeah, that incident, that was old. That happened a year and a half ago. I haven't been up there, but I'm saying, one more thing, I just wanted your advice. As far as, like, addressing my parents, because, like I said, I want to remain honorable. I don't want to, cross that line of dishonoring my parents, but at the same time, they'll literally come to me with questions and things like that, and it's like, I don't want to seem like I don't know what I'm talking about, or I'm trying to avoid them or whatever, so then I'll answer, and then they'll blur their opinion out, and I don't want to just ignore them. So what's your advice as, because I know you deal with a lot of people that I've dealt with that, with the one sister, I forgot her name, like, what's some good advice for that? Cause all
right, here's my advice, okay? I'm going to give you my advice through experience. You ready?
Yes, sir.
First of all, number one, you can only honor your father and mother, because those commandments is based upon those parents who are Israelites. But you can only honor your father and mother as much as they honor the father by keeping his commandments. Now, that doesn't mean you don't go around dishonor them. I went and I preached to my father. Right. I did. I preached to my father, and he rejected. He mocked, he scorned, he derided, child, ridiculed, made fun of, all that stuff. You know what I told him?
I think I remember you said you're going to burn. Yeah, I watched a lot of your videos. You said you're going to burn.
I said, yeah.
Out of that mess that you used to.
So you going to, I said, you going to hell, old man. Sure did. Now, was that dishonor?
Well, no, you was being honest. You spared not.
Okay, then. So I honored him enough to love him enough to tell him the truth. And till this day, my dad is, Carol, how old is Dad now? 79 years old. And he's still in the Father. In the Father. And the Father filled him with the Holy Spirit in his late 50s.
Wow. See, and that lets you know, and that's why I'm so honored. And I'm gonna keep this short because I know you really got to go. I just want to let you know something that I'm growing. Like this is why I'm so humble, because the Father, he could have waited until I lived my life, did all these mistakes, but he found me in my 20s, and that's what gets me teary eyed, because I'm just so grateful and thankful that he could have just let me hit my head and get all these different diseases and stuff, but he took me. He had me come, because I knew sitting in them churches that this isn't right. I just knew it. So, and I just kept saying in my mind, Yeshua, Yeshua. And I opened the Bible one day, and it said that if you love me, keep my commandments. Now, mind you, this was back in like 2015, 2014. He said, if you love me, keep my commandments. And I was always focused on that, but what does he mean? Where are these commandments? Like, we don't keep the commandments. So I'm just leave it at that. And, yes, sir. So that's my brief little testimony. And everybody in my house got sick except me. And then I read where it said, what book was that where it said, if you keep my laws, you won't get sick, like Egypt will? I'm learning.
Exodus.
That's my testimony.
If you ask a question, man, shut up long enough so you can hear the answer.
Yeah, I do that. I do go on rants because I'm always at call centers and stuff, so I ramble and BS. So just catch me if I keep digressing. But like I said, Shabbat Shalom. I'm gonna let y'all get some rest.
Exodus chapter 15, verse 26.
Exodus. Let me write that down when I remember. You said Exodus 15:26.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I remember that. You want me to go research that, or are you going?
Yeah, I want you to look it up. I didn't give it to you so you could just sit up and listen to it. Go read it. You asked a question, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
Then go read it.
Yes, sir. You want me to read it right now?
No! When we get off the phone, Exodus 15:26, son.
Yes, sir.
Bless you. Shabbat Shalom.
I'll do that. Shabbat Shalom.
Brother Brent Cargo sent me a Velcro. Check that out. Look at that. Sure do. Hey, check this out. Send me a hat too, because I got another hat in there. Couple of hats. I got to readjust this thing. It's my tactical hat right here. Got the shield. You know, we got to represent the shield. Glory to the King. Thank you, Brother Brent. Beautiful. Just beautiful. Just beautiful. And if you would like to have one of these, providing that you're tactical. If you ain't got no tactical gear to put this on, don't ask me for this. Do not ask me for this. If you're not training, and you just want to just put it on something, I mean, it'll stick to my shirt, see? Look, I don't care where I put it. It'll stick to my shirt. Look. It'll stick up there, look. Sure will. But it's Velcro. Alright? It is. Love it. Straitway, the shield. Hallelujah. Lord to the King. Alright, Israel, bless y'all. Sweet, precious, strong, victorious, mighty, overcoming, and soon coming King, Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus the Christ. I see y'all tomorrow morning. Be the Father's will, and I believe it is the Father's will. Shabbat Shalom, the King is coming.
Uh-oh, look at him looking.